Welcome to the NCAA Softball Regionals presented by Capital One. Beautiful day here in Baton Rouge, and it's the first time Akron plays the Division I National Tournament. It's 34-23 MAC tournament champions against the number 16 seed and host LSU. One game down already. A couple of big swings to the bat, none bigger than this one for Virginia Tech. A grand slam in the third inning from Kylie Aldridge, first of her career, on the way to a 6-0 win over South Alabama. So we know the first part of each of those games. Virginia Tech will face the winner of Akron and LSU. The loser will go on to our first elimination game of the day against South Alabama. Hi there again with former All-ACC catcher Brittany McKinney. I'm Alex Perlman. Let's start with LSU. They are here. We didn't necessarily know if they would host right on the bubble as the number 16 seed. They got the last one, but they're excited to do it here in front of their home fans, Tiger Park.
This is a tough atmosphere to play in. Definitely a home field advantage, but don't think the Tigers will be overlooking game one today.
There is no question, and one of those really important parts of this team for the last 4 years is their catcher, Macy Bergeron. And when she went out against Arizona with that knee injury, we weren't sure what we get from her the rest of the season. Would she be able to come back? Well, she's done that in a major way because she's been playing so much better.
Yeah, the All-American coming into this season a year ago with that honor. Had a slow start to the season, but then had to miss 4 games with that injury. And sometimes getting the game taken away from you changes that mental perspective because physically she has all the tools. She's been lights out ever since returning, hitting .368 since her return, and a big part of this offense.
Yeah, the Louisiana native in her last go-around here in the NCAA tournament for LSU. For Akron, what a special opportunity it is. One of 5 debutantes this year in the NCAA tournament. They were down to their final out in the semifinals and came back, won it with a walk-off grand slam, and now they are here. They've been playing postseason softball for a while.
Yeah, and this is a team in their first time here, but they're not just excited to be here. They're excited to come out and compete, show Akron softball, and they're a gritty team. And when talking to them, there's no nerves. They just want to come out and play softball.
Well, they're not only the postseason champion in the MAC, but they're the regular season champion as well. The best team in their conference all year long. They'll face LSU out of the SEC coming up next. .419 on the season, and she can really wreak havoc on the base paths as well with 8 stolen bases this year. LSU very deep, just like we saw with Virginia Tech in the circle, and they have opted to go to the sophomore Jaden Heavner to start off the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, she has been their ace all season long in the circle. A really fiery pitcher, gets the momentum on LSU's side. A ton of experience. You see that 126 innings pitched on the season, high strikeout numbers, a lot of talent coming out of the lefty of the circle.
Keep in mind, though, 71 walks this season, a 12% walk rate, which is 10th highest in the SEC. So control has been an issue. That's something to watch early on here against Akron. No free passes.
Certainly. See how she can get ahead of hitters, command the zone, and then she can expand out and up with her rise ball. But getting ahead early and staying ahead is key for Huebner in the circle.
Lefty-lefty matchup to start off game number 2 of the day. Akron in the 16 national seed and host LSU. And the first pitch is right down Main Street. Lee, the senior from Leander, Texas, originally committed to her head coach. As the 0-1 pitch. Fouled straight back. Her head coach Craig Nicholson in his 4th year with Akron was the head coach at Division II Texas A&M Kingsville. And that's exactly where Megan was committed to, but convinced her to head up north to Akron, Ohio, and experience winter for the first time, which has gone kind of both ways as that one is swing and a miss. Here's what we're going to see from Jaden in the circle.
And she's going to throw the ball hard. She's going to be the upper 60s. She can hit 70 miles per hour. The curveball, rise ball combination where she can put a little upspin on that curveball to miss some barrels. And she also has a good changeup. She's just a really hard pitcher to square up.
Haley Glass takes a strike. Command looks immaculate so far here from Huebner early on. A hit for her in 10 of her last 11 games, and Glass was 3 for 8 in the MAC tournament. All 3 of those hits, doubles. Up in the zone, they're 0-2. Dialing it up there to 69 miles an hour. To another 1-2 pitch. Jaden Huebner sees sub-3 ERA last couple of years. You know, this season pitching a little bit more. 2.88 ERA, pretty excellent though when you pitch in the SEC.
It certainly is, and last year coming in as a freshman, not a whole lot of tape on her for these teams, and had success that way, but now all the film, all the tape, all the analytics, data is out on Huebner, and she is still consistently one of the top pitchers in the SEC and just a sophomore.
And she was a freshman All-American last year. Has been a huge part of Beth Torina's pitching staff this season that has gotten a hosting bid once again. Something that we've gotten used to for LSU. They're making their 20th straight NCAA tournament appearance, 4th straight season hosting a regional. They have made supers in 7 of their last 10 NCAA tournaments. However, they've been eliminated in regionals 3 of the last 4 years, including last season right here in Tiger Park. They lost to Southeast Louisiana twice.
Yeah,
that was a shocker. Anytime that a team loses at home, of course, that is going to be something that perks everybody's ears up. Got her on the 8th pitch of the at-bat. 2 Ks so far for Huebner.
And going back to last year and what happened in regionals, LSU is not going to overlook this first game against Akron, and Huebner coming out with the backdoor curve there for the second strikeout of the game and just 2 hitters. This team is focused. They're going to come out and play their best ball, not overlooking any opponent.
No one on for Sophia Wygast, who gets jammed and pops it up into the netting just above the LSU first base dugout. Beth Torina said after last year, going into this season, that she thinks that they're constantly trying to bulletproof themselves to avoid situations like what happened last year. And we kind of asked her, what exactly do you mean by that? Well, more depth in the pitching staff. is definitely a big part of it. You know, a chance to have not only Heavner, but then coming over from San Diego State, CeCe Salora, Peyton Monticelli, her third stop starting at Wisconsin and then going to Oklahoma where she won a national championship and now finishing out her career at LSU. I mean, that is a trio of arms that can get out of any situation against any team. Heavner looking to strike out the side.
That was a tough hold for Weigast, but nice job. 1-2 count. That is what you're going to see from Jaden Heavner. She's going to try and climb the ladder, get the swing and miss on a 69-mile-per-hour rise ball. Good hold.
Where does she go here on 2-2? Right back to it. 1, 2, 3. All of them swinging here in the first.
What a way to make a statement in this game. Heavner back-to-back-to-back strikeouts to start it off for the Tigers.
LSU's starting lineup brought to you by Capital One. Sierra Daniel has been red hot in May, but even further out, a 7-game hit streak coming into regionals, where she's 11 of 24 with 9 runs scored in that stretch. She will be in the 2-hole. Lassiter starts it off, and then Edwards, Franklin, and Tori Edwards. Excellent to see her in there after having to leave the SEC tournament second-round game against Georgia. It's the ace in the circle for Akron, Maddie Jamrog.
And she is a workhorse for this team. You see over 177 innings thrown, 25 games started, and of those, 17 complete games.
She threw every single inning, all 21 of the MAC tournament, and she was the MVP, 3-0 with a 2.33 ERA as Lassiter steps in and takes a strike. She just snapped her 12-game hit streak in the SEC tournament. She's reached base in 23 straight. 353 average this year, 20 points higher than last season. Coming over from Ole Miss. Has really developed as a hitter. That has been a big part of what she has accomplished here at LSU. And she gives a lot of credit to hitting coach Bryce Neal, who she told us is like a father figure to her, not just for softball, but also off the field. But on the field, he's made a big impact. Great coaching staff here for LSU under Beth Torina, which has changed over the years. One of them that's very exciting to see this season is Taylor Pleasance in her first year, one of the best shortstops that Tiger Park has ever seen. A leadoff walk here to Lassiter.
You're able to have Taylor Pleasance on your staff with a new transfer shortstop, and Kylie Edwards coming in. You see Pleasance there coaching first base. I mean, the player that just most recently has played this game at the highest level, All-American to be around and mentor these players, and she knows how it feels and the pressure that it comes along with being an LSU softball player.
Graduated as the program leader in career double plays turned. And Sierra Daniel looks to get on with bunt, fouled back. She is on that list of legends here for LSU.
And those are some legends. Look at those names.
Those All-American names, my goodness. That's ripped left center field and off the wall. Daniel's going to go to second. Lassiter gets the stop sign at third from Sandra Moten. LSU is in business against Jamrog and the Zips.
And Sierra Daniel is staying hot. The streak continues. Had the sacrifice bunt on first pitch, lets her swing away. I think it's a pretty good decision as this ball flies off the outfield wall. Outside pitch, goes through it. No doubter. The only doubt was if it was going to stay in the park, and just barely does.
Kylie Edwards now, who we just talked about, getting her first chance as an LSU Tiger in the NCAA tournament. All SEC first team this year, the only LSU player to get that, and she promptly rips it over the head of Jenkinson into the left center field gap. Go to second, not in time, and 2-run score. Back-to-back doubles for the Tigers. And here we go in the Bayou.
I think if head coach Beth Turenia could write out a script to how she wanted this game to start, we're seeing it. Huebner strikes out the side, back-to-back doubles. This one, Kylie Edwards clears the bases, puts LSU up early off this bat with a 2-run lead. No outs. LSU's bats are coming out to play today.
Edwards showing off the speed as well. They're legging out the double, now 37 runs driven in. And her 7th double of the year to go along with 10 homers and 4 triples. Cleanup hitter's Alex Franklin. Franklin from San Amon, Louisiana, the All-SEC second teamer. Driven in 8 runs the last 4 games. Though maybe that's a little bit skewed. I mean, she still did it, right? But she drove in 5 in that 25-0 rout of Auburn, which has elevated the LSU offensive numbers just a little bit down the stretch.
Talk about a breakout game for an offense that, maybe not be meeting the power expectations coming into this season. You beat a team 25-0, an SEC team 25-0. Get everybody feeling good in the box at this point this season. And an Auburn team that went on a run in the SEC tournament, too.
2-2 got her up in the zone, and there's the first strikeout, first out recorded by Maddie Jamrog. LSU certainly is peaking at the right time, 14-5 over their last 19 games. The offense is coming around, and I'm sure we'll see her at some point, maybe if not today, then tomorrow. Peyton Monticelli has an ERA of about 1 over the last month. That has been as big a boost, I think, for Beth Turenia as anything else. Yeah,
and she's been thriving in that relief role. She came in relief 3 times in that Ole Miss series and got 3 wins in relief. And, talk about peaking at the right time. This is a team that has 11 newcomers. They really went into the transfer portal, have some freshmen, and it takes time. It takes time to get everybody playing together, especially coming from different programs. Coach Turenia talks about having to learn the language of each other, what to say to certain players. Just because they were in the SEC, they've got to learn, how LSU works and putting all the pieces together now.
Just upstairs to Tori Edwards. Last time we saw her, she was exiting the game in the 7th inning after colliding a shoulder injury that didn't look all that difficult, but going to get the high strike there. It didn't seem like there was a lot in it but she was clearly in pain, left the game, thankfully in the starting lineup back in her traditional number 5 spot. That 3-2 just missed. I mean, if you watch this, it looks kind of innocuous, doesn't it? But clearly it wasn't. It just got her in the wrong spot.
Yeah, sometimes you just get hit in the right spot or the wrong spot there. And initially, no major reaction, but then as she's leaving the field, you can see a lot of pain on her face. It is really nice to see her in the lineup today after the way she left that game.
So Edwards on first, Edwards on second, of the Kylie variety. And now Macy Bergeron down in the count 0-2. A team of newcomers. Macy Bergeron stands out. Senior, she has stayed here in Baton Rouge all 4 years. From nearby Rain, Louisiana, small town outside Lafayette. Committed to LSU as a 7th grader. It was never a question of whether or not she wanted to be a Tiger at any point.
And she's certainly left her mark here. An All-American behind the plate. Got some fantastic pitchers, as LSU always does. Now it's Jaden Heavner, the sophomore pitcher that's in this game, and bringing in Peyton Monticelli. Very different pitchers, and she does a great job behind the plate as well.
2-2. Bouncer over to third, gobbled up by Sullivan. Go to second, and they will get 1, but that's it. And now runners on the corners and 2 outs.
Maddie Jamrog, this game started off really fast for LSU, but she's done a nice job getting a strikeout and now an infield ground out for 2 outs.
Here's Char Lorenz. One of those transfers came in from Louisville after an All-American season. A really strong class. The most newcomers that Beth Torina has ever welcomed with those 11 players. And 5 of them are transfers. 6 freshmen. Promptly delivers it into left to score another LSU run as Edwards crosses the plate. An early 3 for LSU here in the first.
Charlone's not doing too much with this pitch, gets it elevated in the zone, but does a nice job of keeping her barrel on plane through the ball. Base hit, RBI.
And now here's Allie Hutchins. Already 30 pitches for Jamrog in this first inning. Remember, she has thrown a lot of them this season. Hutchins came in from Kentucky. See, a Paducah, Kentucky native. An intra-SEC transfer coming in who absolutely did make her mark in Lexington for Rachel Lawson. Decided she wanted a different kind of challenge. Maybe not getting the same kind of playing time, but on a team that has a good chance to advance to a super regional, and who knows, maybe for LSU, they are able to get to another Women's College World Series. It would be their 4th. 3 straight trips from 2015 to 17. To left center, Lee comes in to haul it in, but not before LSU strikes in a big way. 3 across. That's our score going to the second. Akron knew their name was going to be called at some point. They actually had to wait until the last group in the Baton Rouge Regional, but they did. And what a moment for the Zips, the MAC tournament champions, the debutants, along with 4 other schools: California Baptist, Idaho State, who's out in Eugene, South Dakota, and Wagner and the NEC from Staten Island. Congratulations to all these programs, because you never have an opportunity to have a first than right now.
Yeah, you left your legacy. That's what you want to do when you come play college ball. You want to change the program, leave it better than you found it. And all of these teams, all the players of these teams, were the first to make it to an NCAA tournament and represent their program and their school. What a special moment.
And also a special chance there for Craig Nicholson, because he was Arizona State head coach for a couple of years. And he came very close to upsetting the Tigers right here in Baton Rouge in regionals. That was 2015. Yeah. And I mean, a couple outs away.
Very close. He didn't love that we brought that up and had to take that walk down memory lane, but
you brought that one up.
I did. You had
you
to,
had
right?
to, of course.
But, you know, just that experience for your team that's never been to a postseason, and then coming to a place that, you know, the environment's hard, the fans are locked in and invested, and it's a difficult park to play in. Having that experience and be able to relay it to your team, I think, is pretty important.
In just 4 seasons, he has brought Akron to its first Division I NCAA tournament. They did make the Division II tournament, but, I mean, it's been a long time since then, 1984 and 1985. Back-to-back national title game appearances for them. Lost to Cal State Northridge in both, as Lily Sullivan goes down, and Jaden Evener, rather just a strike 2 there. Jumping ahead of myself, but Jaden Evener 1 pitch away now from potentially striking out 4 in a row to start it off. And that's exactly what she does.
And if you haven't watched Jaden Evener all season, when she's at her best, this is what you're going to see from her. She's going to get ahead with the curveball, then start climbing that ladder with the rise ball. Gets her chase out of the zone. So many swing and misses on this pitch on the season for Jaden Evener. She's feeling it right now.
Why is that such a hard pitch to hit?
One, it's coming in with a ton of velocity, too, from Jaden Evener. She's going to hit 70 miles per hour, so you've got to make that decision quickly. And when you're behind in the count, any hesitation, you're either going to be late on it or you're going to find yourself chasing out of the zone, because you know that pitch is coming. It's on the scouting report, but when it's up at your eyes coming in that quickly, it is so difficult to lay off.
First 2 pitches outside the zone here from Evener to the catcher, Katie Cantrell, riding a 6-game hit streak into regionals. She's been a monster in that stretch, 7 of 16. And a home run, triple, 2 doubles, and 5 runs driven in. Also the MAC Defensive Player of the Year. We'll see her behind the plate for the entire tournament. Maddie Jamrod in the circle today for Akron. Just says that Katie Cantrell, so reassuring, it's relaxing to throw to her. What can she do on the other side of the ball, though? Look at strike 3. 5 straight strikeouts to start off the game for Evener. This is the first one of the looking variety.
I mean, she is just peppering the zone. She's in a great rhythm. That's that backdoor curveball. You see, he'll start off the plate and then has that slight break back onto the plate for the strike. I mean, everything she's throwing right now looks sharp.
Yeah, she's got it all working. And Andrea Day takes strike 1. Working ahead early as well. Day had the walk-off sac fly to end the quarterfinal of the MAC tournament against Ohio. And if they didn't get there, then they wouldn't have gotten to the semi where they needed a grand slam to walk off the game. And then eventually in the championship, beating Western Michigan. got him for the second straight time. Katie Cantrell had a 2-run homer in that win.
And that grand slam came bottom of the 7th. No outs, no runners on. 2 outs, no runners on, and then they came back to load up the bases and win the ball game.
Yeah, we were talking to Megan Lee, the leadoff hitter. She knew that if she came up and just got on base, that they were going to win that game. Remember, they didn't need a grand slam. They were only down by 2. But it just kept snowballing and snowballing until Lily Sullivan put it out. Count full now on Day. We'll do it again. First base runner now for Akron.
That was a close pitch. Went to the curveball there. Good take by Andrea Day. We'll take a look at this pitch. This is the straight curveball. Maybe a little up. Close pitch for Hefner.
Tough one to take, but Day does win that battle, and now Sydney Selker offers at the first one. She was the main catalyst in the final regular season series that ended up clinching the MAC championship, the regular season championship against Central Michigan. How about these numbers? 5 for 7, a 4 home run weekend, triple and 7 runs driven in when you're playing for a ring.
Right. I mean, talk about clutch, a gamer.
Held up there. Put together some better at-bats here recently against Hefner. Two and two. Swing and a miss. For the second straight inning, Jaden Hefner strikes out the side. Just that walk to Andrea Day, her lone blemish. LSU will take it. Try to add on to a 3-0 lead next. There's Beth Torina, LSU's all-time wins leader, passed 600 in March. And look at those names that she's behind. Paul Maneri, Dee Bro, Skip Bertman. All three of those are not here anymore, so she has a chance to really climb up the ranks. And here's what LSU has done. 37-17, maybe a bit of a slower start as they went 13-11 in the SEC, but gelling 11 newcomers all together. One of those, Peyton Monticelli, getting a hug there from Beth, making their 20th consecutive NCAA appearance and 27th tournament appearance overall. 6 Women's College World Series trips is number 7 this year. None since 2017, though, when they went to 3 straight. Is this a team that you think has what it takes to make it to Oklahoma City?
They definitely have the pieces, right? When they play their best ball and everything's working together, they're one of the hardest teams to beat. And the depth and the depth in the circle, I think, is huge with Heavner and Monticelli and CC Salora. They have the experience too. So and the lineup is full of power and speed.
Flown out to left, and Glass battles the sun and makes the catch. Well, the Women's College World Series returns to Oklahoma City. The action begins Thursday, May 28th. That's noon Eastern on ESPN. For more information on the WCWS, visit NCAA.com, the home for all NCAA championships. One out, nobody on as the order turns back over to Jayla Lassiter. She was the igniter back in the first. Walk to start it all off. Chase that off speed. Off to the right side, 0-2. Lassiter walked, and then Daniel and Edwards both doubled. Capped off by Char Lorenz's RBI single. And in the end, it was 3 runs across in the first inning. Pretty good way to start things at home, especially when you know that they're feeling the pressure. Yeah. And this is a fan base that expects a lot.
Yeah, very much so. There's a high standard of excellence for LSU softball. As Lassiter goes down swinging, but nice job by Maddie Jamrock here. Goes with that curveball on the outside part of the plate. A lot of spin, a lot of movement, works ahead in the count. She has settled in quite a bit since that fast start for LSU. You see the changeup there. Not a pitch that she throws a ton, but it's going to be important to show these hitters, even if it's not for a strike, just change up the speed, give their eyes a different look.
1-0 lifted, center field, not too deep. Lee underneath it and makes the play. So that will do it. 1-2-3 goes LSU in the second. Still holding on to a 3-0 lead here at home.
Jaden Heavner could not have scripted a better start to this regional. 6 strikeouts and 7 hitters using all of her pitches. The rise ball, the backdoor curveball, another rise. It is all working what she is throwing. She has been lights out to start this game, and that's exactly what LSU was looking for coming into game 1.
Half dozen strikeouts, her most since a season high 11 against Missouri back on April 2nd. She is already almost halfway to her career high, and she's only recorded 6 outs. Top 3 will have Akron sending 8, 9, and 1 to the plate. Jenkinson, Civic, and then Lee, the leadoff hitter. Only base runner Andrea Day with her 2-out walk last inning. Jenkinson, a player that only got better as the season went on. 308 average in MAC play, 250 for the season, which is a new career high for her. It's been a huge improvement at the plate this year as a junior. Looking at Bill Gattuso down the first base line, did not go around. LSU trying to accomplish what Virginia Tech did as well. Avoid the upset in the first game of the tournament. And no problems. Hokies won 6-0 over South Alabama. It's a walk to Jenkinson. Well, the only issue for Heavner throughout the year, but she has mostly been effectively wild. You could certainly say that here in this situation. And so far, so good with a lot of pressure on LSU. Doesn't seem like Heavner is feeling it at all. Civic takes a strike.
When you watch Jaden Heavner, when she's having her struggles with the high walks, she's missing in the wrong direction. Catcher sets up outside, then you see the pitch on the inside part of the plate. Tonight, even in the walks the 2 walks she's had, she's missing in the right direction. Just maybe a little high or a little wide, but she's throwing the ball where she wants to throw it. She has command of her pitches.
Yeah, fine-tuning right now is what it seems like Heavner is doing. And now 0-2. Civic, a senior from Bourne, Texas. Just like Megan Lee, who is on deck. Committed to Craig when he was at Division II Texas A&M Kingsville. This is going to be a really tough play. Bajaron, for whatever reason, decided to field it, and I think she realized that that probably wasn't the right call.
No, you're right on. That ball, there's no chance to get an out anywhere. Had a pretty good chance of this ball bouncing and going foul. You see high hop, great ball placement here. But if she just lets that ball go, it's spinning to be a foul ball, and the senior behind the plate taps her chest afterwards. That's on me. That was a mistake by a solid catcher.
See if LSU can work around it, though. First and second, as the Zips have their first runner in scoring position of the evening. Most dangerous part of this lineup now, starting with Megan Lee. Went for it outside. Down to the count 0-2 after that curve. Lee, the elder statesman of this Akron Zips program. She told us that her team calls her Grammy. Most of the freshmen. She graduated last year. Didn't even know if she was going to come back, but took a little while. Decided after a few weeks that she does. She had unfinished business. She's going to get a chance to go to med school, start applying in the spring.
Yeah, med school, I can wait.
You can certainly wait when you got to win in MAC tournament championship. Up in the zone, and Lee went for it. 7 strikeouts for Heavner.
She goes back up in the zone with her best pitch, the rise ball. So hard to lay off of, especially when you're in protect mode with 2 strikes. That's when Huebner's at her best.
So Huebner has still not recorded an out except for strikeouts. As Haley Glass takes outside. Akron did just pick up its first hit, though, on that infield single by Civic. On the infield, Edwards hauls it in. So there you go. The first non-strikeout out of the evening for Jaden Huebner.
She doesn't want her defense to go to sleep behind her, right?
I guess.
Let them get a ball every once in a while.
I feel like they'd be just okay if every out was a strikeout, too. Easy day at the office, right? 2 outs for Weigast. And so, first and second, nobody out. Now, Lee with the strikeout, Glass with the pop out. And Huebner can escape here in the third. Didn't hold up there. Home-plate umpire Jose Chaparro was all over it. Pretty good ratio of strikeouts to batters face, 7-11.
I guess just getting a piece of that. That's a tough pitch to handle. Does just enough to foul it off to keep this bat going.
She is dangerous. 60 runs driven in this year. Program single season record. And second in the MAC. Looking for more. She broke a record that had held since 1999 when Kelly Metzger drove in 56. 1-2 on Weigast. Got her for the second time today and the 8th time overall. Jaden Huebner sends Akron back to the dugout. The Southpaw rolling here in Baton Rouge.
There is nothing like the Women's College World Series.
May 28th when it all gets going in Oklahoma City. If chalk held, we would be seeing 8 of these 16 teams, the top 8 that would be, but I guarantee you chalk's not going to hold this year. Already we have seen Florida State who is the number 9 overall seed, lose. So they went down, and now they will have to play in the elimination game tomorrow. You see where we are, LSU at the bottom, number 16, one of 8 SEC teams in the top 16, led by Alabama, the number 1 overall seed. And talking about chalk, if indeed it is the seeds coming out of both of those regionals, they will match up, and we'll see Alabama and LSU at the Rhodes House. I mean, that would be a spectacle, to say the least.
No doubt about it. I mean, LSU fans, Alabama fans, very invested in their softball. Rhodes House rocking no matter what, but in a super regional environment.
5,000 plus in T-Town. Sign me up for that. Kylie Edwards with the pop out to second, and Civic has it for out number 1. Well, don't miss a minute of the action from the NCAA softball regionals. You can see it all on 7 Innings Live on the ESPN app. Every game, every big moment as we whip around the country on the road to the Women's College World Series, only on the ESPN networks. Chris Budden, Tori Vidalis, Tara Henry, one of the foremost experts, Division I college softball, as well as the Great Britain national team coach, who, by the way, is that ball a little bit low. Peyton Monticelli, one of LSU's main stars in the circle, pitches for. Alex Franklin for LSU. Bottom 3, put up 3 in the first. Torched. Center field, no question. Solo shot Franklin. And LSU adds another one. It's 4-0.
Just Alex Franklin's 6th home run of the year, but that was a no-doubter. 250 feet to dead center. Maddie Jamrock had started to find a rhythm, but Alex Franklin steps in and disrupts it in the biggest way. Look at how far that ball went. Cleared the camera stand in center field. Yeah, that deserves a couple claps.
Sophomore Alex Franklin, who not only with those now 6 home runs, also leads the SEC with 6 triples. It's punched into left, and Tori Edwards has her first hit of the Baton Rouge Regional. She has been on twice, walked her first time up.
In the second inning, LSU went down 1-2-3. Kylie Edwards started this inning off, getting out. Jamrod retiring 4 in a row. Then Alex Franklin with a massive hit, and Tori Edwards continues it with a base hit to the left side.
LSU's offense starting to click at just the right time. And that is, what it is all about. You want to be playing your best softball at the end of the year. And I think it's interesting, too, because, you see a team like Akron who needed to win the MAC championship. Foul down the left field line. 3 games in a row, they come in red hot. They come in on a winning note. You see it so often, though, with SEC teams, because the tournament is such a crapshoot. You're playing such good teams. LSU comes in, and in the second round, they lose to Georgia. They go home early. But it gives them time to relax, recoup, and it almost never signifies like who has success in the SEC tournament, who's necessarily going to have success in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, you're spot on. Sometimes that recovery and that rest period, that extended recovery and rest after going through the grind of an SEC season and the toll that takes on you physically, but also mentally, just be able to step back and get ready for your postseason and wait for your name to be called on Selection Sunday.
Runner goes. Edwards is in there. Testing the arm of Cantrell, the MAC Defensive Player of the Year.
Cantrell really good behind the plate. Has thrown out 12 of 20 would-be base stealers. A good jump there by Tori Edwards. Steals the rare base on Cantrell.
9th stolen base of the season. Good to see Tori Edwards feeling better. harnessing all of her powers now into scoring position. 3-2 count on Bergeron. Third strikeout of the day for Jamrog. That's a big second out.
That's a good pitch, too, by Jamrog. Getting that curveball, working right to left, off the edge of the plate. Big swing and miss.
One 1-0 on Lorenz. Off speed, a little bit outside as well. Kentucky transfer Allie Hutchins is on deck. Here from this next pitch, can't find strike zone for Jamrog, but she does. One run in on Alex Franklin's solo shot. Well, that won't find the zone.
There's always that fine line when you're going against a powerful offense. Like, you don't want to leave anything too sweet. You want to be careful, but not too careful where you fall behind and give up free passes. Those pitches didn't miss by much, but just enough for the walk.
Hutchins flew out to left her first time up. It's a fine box to get in the middle of.
You want to stay away from the middle.
Well, yes. Maybe not the strike zone being in the box. Jam to right center field. It drops in. Tori Edwards scores. They're going to hold Lorenz at third. LSU plates another here in the third.
This wasn't a bad pitch by Jamrog. Hutchins gets jammed up, but has just enough strength to get that ball off the hands to fall in for an RBI single.
Showing her strength there. Got jammed and it didn't matter. Jammed by Jamrog. Avery Hodge shows bunt, pulls back. Hodge came to LSU before last season, where she had won 2 national championships in many years with Oklahoma. It was a big part of their run in 2024. 2 doubles, 4 runs scored in that Women's College World Series, but decided that she wanted a chance with the Tigers. She did play club ball with Macy Bergeron, so knew a familiar face there. So highly touted coming out of high school as the number 6 overall player in the country. It's a big get, showing why over Jenkinson. And now LSU takes a 6-0 lead. 3 in the first, 3 in the third. It's becoming a rough day in the circle now for Maddie Jamrog.
Back-to-back hits, LSU scoring runs with 2 outs. Hodge not doing too much with the ball, just putting the barrel out there and finding some grass for another run for LSU. Another 3 spot so far at the bottom of the 3rd inning.
Sarah Zillis coming out to the circle. Great Akron player of her own right. And Jamrog, you can see that line get a little ugly now. 6 earned, 2 2/3. But this is a really hard lineup to navigate. And if LSU is able to hold off Akron, it will be fascinating to see how Virginia Tech is able to attack them and which pitchers are chosen to attack them.
Right, and I think the same question for LSU. How are you going to use your pitchers against Virginia Tech if this line holds up? I mean, both lineups, top to bottom, very unique with speed and power. Just, which matchup is going to work best.
Lineup back to the top here in Jayla Lassiter. 8th player to come up to the plate here in the 3rd. Maddie Jamrog also hasn't been getting ahead of these LSU hitters, and that has been a factor as well in LSU's recent success. Started out 4 for 6, and since then has thrown first pitch strikes to just 3 of 13 hitters.
And not missing by much either with those, but once you fall behind, advantage hitters, no doubt they can be a little bit more selective, pick a side of the plate, pick a speed when it's a hitter's count.
Lassiter is certainly being selective up there. Now the count runs full.
And LSU this year has been very selective and aware of the strike zone. Tops in the SEC in walks.
Pounded into the ground to Sullivan, and she'll touch up to end the 3rd. But just like the first, a 3-spot for LSU. And we'll talk to Akron head coach Craig Nicholson when we come back to Tiger Park. You're watching the NCAA Softball Regionals presented by Capital One. Here in the second game of the day in Baton Rouge, 6-0 LSU over Akron. And we are joined by the Zips head coach, the MAC tournament regular season champions, Craig Nicholson. Coach, what does it mean to bring this program to its first ever D1 NCAA tournament?
Well, it means a lot. It's special. I mean, that's not really what we're thinking about right now, but it absolutely is something special. When this is over, it'll be something we look back on and we're proud of.
Coach, bats seem to be getting better after Heavner going through the second time through your lineup. What kind of adjustments do you want to see?
We're just trying to be a little less chasey, especially with her up stuff. And, first time in this environment for a lot of these kids, and we're a little excited and a little chasey early. And hopefully we can settle down and get a little bit better pitches to hit.
Coach, really appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Craig Nicholson, a long-time softball head coach. A few different stops. Ball State, where he was two-time MAC Coach of the Year, as well as Arizona State. 2 years back-to-back NCAA tournaments, then went to Division II Texas A&M Kingsville before coming back to Division I here to Akron, and certainly has made his mark on this program. It's only taken him 4 years to get them into the dance. Lily Sullivan, as big a reason as anybody that they are playing here in Baton Rouge. Sullivan in the MAC tournament semifinal, down 2-0 with 1 out left and the bases loaded, blasting that walk-off grand slam to beat Western Michigan. And amazingly, she was robbed of a home run in her previous at-bat and was able to make it right the very next time up.
Yeah.
A little revenge.
Exactly, right? You get robbed of a home run. That's such a deflating feeling, but she definitely made up for it in her next at bat.
I wonder if she was rounding the bases and she was thinking to her, try to catch that, huh?
Right?
Bring that one back. Ball and 2 strikes here on Sullivan. Out to right field. First action for Alex Franklin. Coming off of that solo shot an inning ago, and she squeezes it for out number 1.
You know, I agree with Coach Nicholson said about being excited first time, this kind of environment as a hitter. You go out there and kind of get out of yourself, chasing pitches out of the zone, especially with 70 miles per hour coming after you up in the zone. You let the emotions take you out of your game plan and what you're used to, but Akron's definitely settling in and having better at bats, putting the ball in play, fouling off pitches, getting more settled into this environment and the postseason for the first time.
First 7 outs recorded by Heavner were all via strikeout. And 8 strikeouts so far, the most among any opening round pitcher so far today. And that is saying something across the country with the type of arms that we have seen.
Yeah, no doubt. But I think this is exactly what Jaden Heavner needed to get right game for her. This couldn't have gone better to start the game, come out throwing strikes, showing that she has command of her pitches, can put the ball where she wants to, can elevate when she needs to. This has got to feel really good for Heavner in the circle.
Ball and 2 strikes now on Katie Cantrell. Struck out looking her first time up. Definitely putting better swings on. You can see that they're timing up Heavner at this point.
Yeah, they're getting their hands out fast, finding that timing like you mentioned. I mean, it's hard, 69, 70 miles per hour. And just second time through the lineup, seeing those clear adjustments. Akron made it to this point this season for a reason.
Certainly pushing Heavner deeper and deeper into counts as this game goes on. Third full count here for Akron. First 2 were walks. And the third remains to be seen.
And as a coach, you want to see your hitters get better each at bat, have more productive at bats, challenge pitchers more. Right now, 8th pitch of this at bat, they're fighting, fouling off pitches, not making it as easy on Heavner.
Ripped up the middle just under the glove of Edwards. Cantrell stops at first.
And that was an incredible at bat by Cantrell. Fouled off multiple pitches. This is the 8th pitch of the at bat. Gets something down in the zone and is able to get her barrel out. Stays behind the ball, just out of the reach of Edwards at shortstop. But the first solid hit we've seen from Akron, and just the second time through the lineup.
The first one that has left the infield. The only other hit was an infield single off the bat of Civic. Pinch runner now here for Akron, coming in Ava Hensley. She'll replace Cantrell, and the batter will be Andrea Day, who walked her first time up. First pitch swinging into left center. Lassiter on, 2 away. LSU's counterpart in the bracket, remember, it's the 16 national seed, the Baton Rouge Regional, matched up with Tuscaloosa in Alabama. Well, Crimson Tide didn't have any trouble against South Carolina Upstate, winning 8-zip. Just 4 hits for the Spartans. A very good program, but going up against the Tide, who have just been excellent this year. A fitting 1 seed.
Talk about exceeding expectations with Alabama.
They picked to finish like 7th, something
Eighth
like that in the SEC.
Yeah, not towards the top by any chance, but Jocelyn Brisky in the circle has been outstanding. Vic Moten in the circle as a freshman, and then their offense is an Alabama offense that we have not seen in a long time.
They ended up starting Caitlin Palazzi as well, the freshman, and she held them to South Carolina Upstate to 4 hits, so they haven't even used Brisky or Moten at this point. They're fresh.
And I think that's an important note, though. I think whoever has the deepest pitching staff in this era of offense that we see with all the broken records, whoever has the deepest pitching staff, in my opinion, will go the furthest.
It's going to be fascinating. Tomorrow's 1-0 game. As Sydney Selker goes down on strikes. By the way, that's going to be Alabama against Belmont and Maya Johnson. That is going to be exciting. We'll talk to Beth Torina, the LSU head coach, when we come back. Not much stress right now here in Tiger Park for the fans in purple and gold. 6-0 the lead for LSU over Akron, joined by the Tigers head coach Beth Torina. And Beth, right now the story is Jaden Heavner in the circle with those 9 strikeouts in 4 innings. What do you see working so well for her here tonight?
Yeah, well, she's really special. I think she's doing a great job tonight. She has all year long for us, but she's locating well tonight, and then her stuff is just electric. I mean, it just moves all through the zone, and she's doing a great job of just being herself tonight.
Your offense came out firing as well. Game 1, not overlooking this game. What have you liked from your batters this game?
Our team's done such a good job of that all year. I mean, they play the game in front of them, and I think they knew this was a big one. They know that they're playing a really solid team that's won a bunch of games. So I think they wanted to come out with their best. And, you know, of course, we're led by the top of our lineup and Jayla Lassiter. And then so many people have contributed today, and that's kind of what this offense is. It's somebody sets a tone, and then the rest are able to follow it. And we're pretty deep 1 through 9. So.
And we are seeing that so far. Coach, thanks so much for the time. Always appreciate it.
Thank you.
And 2, 3, and 4 coming up now for LSU, trying to add on to this 6-0 lead. 3 in the first, 3 in the third, 6 runs on 7 hits so far. And Heavner with those 9 strikeouts is holding Akron to just 2 hits, and only one of them has left the infield.
And she mentioned this lineup top to bottom. The 6 runs have been scored by 6 different players. I mean, it's just sharing the wealth and production from all parts of the lineup tonight.
And that can be a real strength when you get to the postseason, because when you're not just relying on home runs or relying on one part of your order to produce, it does, I mean, that's kind of been the focal point at the beginning of the season, was bulletproofing yourself for these types of situations, for big upsets to happen. And part of that is having a really deep lineup.
Yeah, and being able to manufacture runs,
right,
too. Not just relying on the long ball, the one home run solo shot by Alex Franklin, but besides that, the 5 other runs have been stringing together base hits, hitting gaps, getting runners on via walk, just finding ways to score runs.
That is part of how they do it, as Daniel beats out the infield single.
Yeah, but they've got the home run power, the gap-to-gap power, but they also have speed up and down this lineup, and Senior Daniel, one of the fastest on the team.
And I think also when we talk about LSU, you got to mention they're in the bottom 3 in the SEC in both doubles and home runs, but they lead the conference with 18 triples, which is top 15 in the country. And you don't see that type of number very often for an SEC team, because you think, oh, you've got to have the type of power to leave the ballpark, but that's just not how LSU has to get it done this year.
Yeah, and it's almost more demoralizing as a defense or an opposing team when teams string things together. They hit a gap, they run the bases, they're taking the extra bases.
This is hit hard, though, to second. They're going to get the lead runner.
And that's just what LSU does. You know, they put that overthrow here.
That is going to allow Edwards to get down to second base. So first mistake that we have seen defensively from Akron.
It's always a reminder, don't look down at your scorecard too soon.
Always right.
Heads up base running by Edwards too.
So she's there on the fielder's choice. Put that down in your book, 6-4. And then the error on the second baseman, Civic, to allow Edwards to advance down to second base. And she's in the scoring position here with just 1 out. For Alex Franklin, who last time up, solo shot. I made it 4-0 and then plated 2 more RBI singles from Hutchins and Hodge, the 8 and 9 hitters. It's also a good thing we have our lineup in front of us, because after Macy Bajeron, if I had to rely on the video board, I would have absolutely no idea who's hitting.
Thanks to
Thank
Kylie
you,
Aldridge.
thank you, Kylie Aldridge. Yeah.
Just a gentle reminder that she left the park in a big way today.
What's more amazing is the fact that it's still Zoe Yeager up there from Virginia Tech. That was the name when it was plunked on the Grand Slam. Franklin pops up to short and Jenkinson.
Yeah,
Got some work to be done there.
Yeager does not play for LSU. She did have a home run of her own in Game 1 today.
Said, you're going to race me? I'm going to put myself in your scorebook. Tori Edwards now has not been retired. Walking a single. Came around to score as well in the RBI by Hutchins. To right. Day. Underneath it. Squeezes, makes the play. Let's go to the 5th. Akron trying to take a bite out of this 6-0 lead. Get that bagel off the board. Let's take a look at today's Capital One rewarding performance. It's in the circle for LSU because Jaden Heavner can't stop getting Ks.
So you want to make a statement in your first game. Jaden Heavner doing exactly that, peppering the zone, the swing and misses, everything that she's throwing is working. That rise ball, she's able to implement it because she's working ahead and counts. Her performance tonight, certainly rewarding.
9 strikeouts so far, just 2 off of her season high. And she said against Missouri at the beginning of April, but we are only 4 innings in. Akron struggling to make contact, though, just 2 hits, 1 infield single, as well as base hit up the middle by Katie Cantrell in the 4th. It's going to be 8-9-1 for Akron. Jenkinson, Civic, and Lee. Jenkinson up in the count 2-0, and she walked her last time up. One of 2 base on balls allowed by the lefty for LSU. Remember, Heavner's only a sophomore at this point, too. It feels like there's a lot of growth that she can still undergo. An All-American, freshman All-American last year, and then, this season, maybe not exactly those same types of numbers, though very good. You could see a big jump, though, in junior year for her to become a real force.
No doubt, especially under Beth Torina. And it's coming off of an All-American season is hard, but doing it as a freshman and having to respond the next year, in your head, you're like, how do I do that again? How do I repeat that? Whereas, you weren't thinking about that the last season when you became an All-American, and it's hard to, close out those thoughts and stay in your head and play your game. And I think there's definitely been some of those challenges with a couple of the players, All-Americans on this team, just not worrying about that expectation, but playing your ball. And I think Jaden Heavner is showing us this game, like, she's got it.
Yeah, one of those being Tori Edwards. Some massive expectations for her coming off of an SEC Freshman of the Year campaign where she was an All-American. And she did, make the All-SEC second team, but you talk about a year from a program record-tying 18 home runs, 73 runs driven in, to 12-43. I mean, that's a good year, but it is not exactly the same type of caliber that we saw last season. Jenkinson's going to walk for her second time. It's the 3rd full count in the last 4 batters. So, again, we talk about Heavner. Sometimes control can hamper her, but it hasn't really been much of a problem. 3 walks, but they have been scattered so far.
And also credit to Akron hitters, second time through the lineup, making the adjustments, swinging at better pitches. Coach Craig Nicholson said that that's what they need to focus on throughout this game, and we're seeing it being more selective in the box.
Civic at an infield single was the first hit that Heavner gave up back in the 3rd. Still outs to work with here for Akron, but you're going to need to start dialing it in at the plate. It can be hard to think, though, when you're facing a team like LSU. Chip away, get one here, one there, because you kind of feel like it's all got to happen at once when you're facing this type of caliber team.
Certainly, but there's no 6-run swing. The best thing that Akron can do is, work walks, find ways to get on, but nice response there by Heavner after issuing the leadoff walk, come right back out and get the strikeout.
So she's into double figures now with 10.
Another swing and miss on that rise ball. It's so hard to lay off, especially when you're behind in the count. That's why Heavner is at her best, as most pitchers are, but especially the way that Heavner pitches, get ahead.
Lee bunts, Heavner throws it away. That is Megan Lee type softball. They're going to hold the runner at 3rd as Jenkinson stops 60 feet away. How big will that be? Now, after the error by the pitcher, Jaden Heavner. That is what Lee does, though. She puts pressure on the opposing defenses.
Yeah, this is her 25th bunt for a single of the season. and she has so much confidence in getting that ball down and then putting that pressure on the defense. And Huebner, a lefty coming out of the circle to field that, has to turn her back to first base, lose that eyesight. It's tough play, especially for a lefty in the circle. And Megan Lee putting the ball in play and making something happen with her speed.
And now second and third one out. This is the best chance by far now for Akron. Megan Lee bunts in 16% of her at-bats. So it is not a surprise, and we talked to her about it. She told us, I mean, bunting has been my bread and butter. Her head coach, I mean, Craig telling us that, you know, I would bet you she's got over 100 bunt hits. Well, she's got over a quarter of that this year, so probably not too far off.
Definitely not an exaggeration, right? And it's just such a skill to have when you have that natural speed and that talent on the left side, being able to place a bunt on the infield. She does it better than just about anybody.
And now Haley Glass gets the opportunity. A hit for her in 10 of her last 11 games.
You know, even with a 6-run lead for LSU, they're pulling the infield in with runners in second and third and just one out. They're trying to prevent any runs to come across from Akron. You see the middles in front of the baseline, corners pulled in tight. They get a ground ball they're looking for.
Akron nothing for 3 with runners in scoring position so far. Anything to just get into this 6-run lead. Trim it down as we get towards the later innings here in Baton Rouge. Just missed.
That was a close one.
Haley Glass only had 6 at-bats in her first 2 years. Craig Nicholson told us probably wasn't a starter coming into the year. Never would have guessed that she'd have the season that she did. She easily could have left after last year, too. Lack of playing time, wasn't getting the opportunities. Stuck with it and became a member of the All-MAC second team. The type of season she's had, hitting .320. It would be, I think, a very different game if Akron had been able to do this against Jaden Huebner from the very beginning.
Yeah, I think just the nerves, the first time, right? First time ever Akron's been in the postseason as a program, but Huebner answers back with a strikeout there. But, you know, the nerves are real. It's a new environment, a new place to play ball, not used to the postseason and a rocky start to the game, but they're showing us why they deserve to be here and why they're here, why they're the MAC champs, putting together some good at-bats as the game goes on.
11 strikeouts, tying a season high for Jaden Huebner. She is nearing her career high, needs just 2 more. Also, there is something to just playing in this environment, playing at Tiger Park. It's different. And it's just something to get used to, and it takes a little bit of time. Virginia Tech's not going to be as fazed by it, sure, because they play in these types of environments all the time, challenging themselves to the best schedule, and so does South Alabama, for that matter, playing multiple SEC teams a year. But Akron just doesn't get to do that. Second and third with 1 out for Akron. Huebner just needs 1 strikeout to leave them on the base paths. I'd have to bet that the Zips are not too upset that Wygast is the one that gets the opportunity here.
And she just missed on that swing, too. Fouls it straight back.
Team I 11 homers. Big swing coming up here for Wygast. Pitch number 100 is ball 2. Count runs full.
That was another close one. Heavner with that backdoor curve, trying to get that outside corner, but not a call. Good at bat by Wygas. Full count.
Shallow right. Franklin drifts in. 2 in scoring position. Stranded by Jaden Heavner. We already know one team in the 1-0 game, and that is Virginia Tech. In impressive fashion, taking down South Alabama 6-0. Kylie Aldridge's first career grand slam. 1-2, remember, igniting that offense in the 3rd inning. Who is going to join them, though, at 1 Eastern? Right now, it's looking like LSU, but we've still got more softball to play. They have a lead equal to Virginia Tech's final margin over the Jaguars. 6-0 as we go to the bottom half of the 5th inning. Macy Bergeron takes a strike. Alex Perlman, along with former All-ACC catcher at North Carolina, Brittany McKinney. So glad that you have joined us and made us a part of your Friday evening. That's tattooed foul. What's that off the bat?
It was up there for a second, then went away, but she crushed
I think it was 73 is what I saw.
Crushed.
73 miles an hour off the bat for Bergeron. Bergeron, Lorenz, and Hutchins, which has actually been a very productive part of this lineup, though it's just 6, 7, and 8, and that continues. First hit of the evening for Bergeron. Well, make sure you don't miss a minute of the action from the NCAA Softball Regionals. All the best live action on the 7 Innings live show, only on the ESPN app. You can see every game and every big moment on that road to the Women's College World Series on the ESPN networks. All weekend long, you turn your TV onto an ESPN channel, chances are you're watching some of the best softball that we have to offer here in this country.
And ESPN, the home of college softball, and it's mayhem. We've already seen the upset today. Florida State, the host seed, going down to Stetson. A lot of game left the rest of the evening, and we're just getting started.
You know, it took until the 5th inning of Game 2 today to mention mayhem. I would have guessed it would have come out a little bit earlier than that.
Yeah, you know.
It really is, though.
It's amazing. The conference tournaments coming into that, what Akron had to do in their conference tournament. I mean, this is the best time of year.
Charles Lorenz has not been retired. Little downstairs, 2-0. Some big teams were in trouble. I mean, UCF needed a come-from-behind win in order to avoid the elimination game. That would have been one of the best elimination games in the history of the NCAA tournament, though, wouldn't it, with Florida State?
Yeah, I mean, I was just kind of thinking about that game as it was going on, if those two matched up in an elimination game in day 2. But I think we're going to see more of that. I mean, Tennessee was tied with Northern Kentucky in the 6th inning today. I mean, with the parity of the sport, with everybody elevating the game, we're going to see so much more of that. Last year, Texas A&M, the #1 overall seed, is taken down by Liberty. And it's testament to the growth of the sport and the excitement of the sport. If you're not a softball fan, you watch a game and you become one. It's easy to fall in love with this game, especially the level it's played at across the board now.
Akron has to be careful right now, because if you are just falling in love with softball, you might not know that there is an 8-inning run rule in effect in the 5th inning on. And right now, obviously, that means that if LSU scores 2 runs here in the bottom of the 5th, this game is over. So the winning run is technically on first base right now for the Tigers, as Allie Hutchins takes strike 2. It would be their 14th run roll of this season. Now Maddie Jamrog, like Heavner an inning ago, hits the century mark for pitches in this game. To third, Sullivan tags, throws across, in time, what a double play! 5-3, Sullivan to Weigast, and immediately 2 outs here in the 5th.
That's exactly what Maddie Jamrog's looking for in this situation. Goes inside, wants a ground ball to third base to give the opportunity to turn the double play, gets exactly that. And if you're Hutchins in the box in that situation with the runners at first and second, and the last thing you want to do is chase something on the inner half of the plate, the chance of a double play. A great execution by Jamrog in the circle, and then finishing it up, Sullivan on defense.
So now the winning run transfers to home plate. Avery Hodges in the lefty batter's box, and that finds the outside corner. Hodge singled, drove in a runner last time up. Thinking bunt, up 6-zip. Slow roller. There's Sullivan again. She's got no play, but they do throw behind the runner. And Charles Lorenz is just able to get back in safely.
And I love that play by Sullivan. Heads up, smart play, ton of speed down the line. Hodge puts that ball in a perfect spot, no chance to get her, but with the trail runner, you see this play, how she has to come up,
third base.
make the play, knows there's no play there, holds onto the ball, and immediately looks to third base. And this was a close play, and I think we're going to take another look at it.
Yeah, we are going to get our first video review of the Baton Rouge Regional. And I don't think that's all that close, but you get 2 challenges, and Craig Nicholson deciding to use one of them with his team down 6-0.
Yeah,
this is pretty cut and dry.
Going to be confirmed, no doubt. It'll be a quick review, but it also gives Coach Nicholson a chance to talk to his infield in this situation. He's out there having a chat.
Now this is being reviewed in Pittsburgh at the NCAA Command Center. It is not being reviewed by the umpires here. That's an important distinction in the NCAA tournament, just like they do in the SEC in Birmingham. But other conferences, obviously, umpires are going into the back and they're looking at all the different possible angles, and that is not what's going on. So these umpires are just talking to Pittsburgh, and they are the ones that are making that call.
Yeah, can't be mad at the umpires on the field on a challenge.
That's exactly right.
You have to yell all the way to Pittsburgh if you don't like the result.
You got to yell pretty loud to make it all the way up there. And we have our decision, it seems like. Third base umpire Chad Steers is our crew chief for this game, and he will make the call.
After review, the call on the field is confirmed. Runner is safe. Akron has one challenge remaining.
All right, so as expected, it is confirmed, and so only one challenge remaining now for Akron. LSU still has both of theirs. Here's Lassiter. It's going to drift into the netting on the right side. So the winning run now transfers to first base after that infield single. It's in the form of Avery Hodge. Lassiter, 488 this season with runners in scoring position. Looking for her first hit today. And she gets it to deep center field, but just not enough. She got a hold of it, and everybody thought this ball game was going to be over. No, ma'am. 216 feet off the bat. It needed to be over 220. Maddie Jamrock, pretty excited. Her team's still alive as we go to the sixth. All Tigers so far to open up the Baton Rouge Regional. Jaden Evener's certainly done her job in the circle. 11 strikeouts, tying her season high. Alex Franklin providing some of the offense with that solo homer. But the other 5 runs driven in different ways, and we have seen this offense work exactly how Beth Torino was hoping for today.
Yeah, they don't rely on the home run ball. They rely on getting momentum 1 through 9, using speed, using gap power, taking extra bases, a complete lineup from LSU. But Jamrock the past 2 innings has put a donut up on the board for it.
So Lily Sullivan coming up to the plate. 4, 5, 6 now for the Zips. Sullivan, Cantrell, and Day. a big difference from what we've seen all season from Virginia Tech and what we see from LSU is that, at one point, they had 5 runs on 3 hits today against South Alabama. You have a grand slam and a solo shot, and that's 5 of your 6 runs. And for LSU, they did get that, of course, the solo home run. It was an important point for Alex Franklin, but manufacturing runs. And I'm interested in how that plays against each other. Lassiter has it for out number 1. It's always fun when teams entering the postseason have such contrasting styles, but they've both had so much success.
Yeah, it's knowing your identity as a team, too, knowing what your players are best at, working towards their strengths and putting your team in the best position to succeed. You can't try and be a 100 home run hitting team if that's not what the strengths are as your team, and playing into those strengths and building those strengths is what LSU has done and has adapted and really committed to the identity that they are as an offense.
It's probably taken a little bit of time with, all those newcomers gelling, 11 of them, biggest class that Beth Torina has had in her time here at LSU. But it has worked here recently, 14-5 in their last 19 games. It's been business as usual so far for the at-large bid from the SEC.
You talk about all those newcomers, 11 of them, and the mixture of transfers and freshmen, and those players have to adapt to a new program in a different way. You have to have that learning curve for a freshman different than a transfer coming in. And they all have that learning curve, but Beth Trina talked about having to learn each other's language, how the system works here at LSU. Just because you've played in the SEC like Kylie Edwards has and Avery Hodge, just because you've been in the SEC does not mean that you're just going to seamlessly fit into a new program. It takes time.
Edwards underneath it, man. A bit of an adventure, but she does make the play for out number 2.
Doesn't have to look pretty as long as it ends up in the glove.
That's exactly right. Maybe that's what Sierra Daniels telling her. Just make the play, Tori. Doesn't matter. Last 4 in a row going back to the 5th inning, retired by Heavner. Sticking with their number 1 with this 6-0 lead in the top half of this 6th.
I think that just shows how much respect LSU has for Akron and where they're not taking anything for granted. We saw, I think it was last inning with the runners in scoring position, LSU had their infield pulled in. They're going to do everything they can to prevent a run from scoring in this game. Nothing's given in the postseason. You have to play your best ball. You can't take any pitch off, and you play lightly. And I think that's why Heavner's still in the ball game.
Yeah, when you start planning for tomorrow,
right,
when today isn't finished, you get burned a lot.
Exactly right.
We see that every year. It's probably a reason we don't see it happen very often, though. Shallow left for Lorenz. Last 5 in a row now retired by Heavner. LSU with a chance to put it away in the bottom of the 6th. Baton Rouge just one of 16 regional sites getting underway today. Already a stunner in so many different ways. The Stetson Hatters knocking off the host Florida State in Tallahassee 8-3. Kendall Wells hit another one. She's at 37, which ties Lauren Espinoza with that record that stood for 31 years. But Megan Grant's got the NCAA record now. She's hit 38. And then UCF had their backs against the wall against Jacksonville State. They were down 1-0 going into the 7th. They won it in extras to avoid disaster and avoid a very tasty elimination game in Florida State and UCF. But instead, it is going to be UCF making it to the 1-0 game in Tallahassee. And immediately, they have the edge to win this region.
Yeah, if Florida State's able to make it through tomorrow and come back Sunday, they're going to have to beat UCF twice. I mean, they're at home. UCF is a great program. They've had a great season in the Big 12 this year. Top 30 RPI team. And, you know, in terms of RPI, that Tallahassee Regional was one of the toughest, and it's playing out that way.
4 very good teams. Although, you would not count out the Seminoles, especially at home, to even win 2 in a row. The opposite way to left field on her horse, Daniel, and there's a leadoff double. And LSU brings the winning run up to the plate here with nobody out in the 6th.
Sierra Daniel was thinking double off the bat. Anything in the grass that makes an outfielder move, she's head down thinking 2. No doubt about it, she's going to reach second base. That speed of Sierra Daniel is a game changer.
Daniel's second double of the game and her 11th on the season. Leadoff has been aboard now in 3 straight innings for LSU, and finally we will see the exit of Maddie Jamrog. And here comes Macy Walters. We'll tell you more about her when we come back to Baton Rouge. Jamrog is still responsible for Sierra Daniel over on second base, but so far those 5+ innings, 3 strikeouts, 4 walks, giving up 11 hits, and it is now going to be up to Macy Walters in the circle. Akron hasn't seen her there for a while because all 21 innings of the MAC tournament were thrown by Maddie Jamrog.
I mean, she's the workhorse of this team, and Jamrog came out in the first inning. LSU put up a quick 3, but then after that, just 3 more runs, 3 shutout innings.
Walters rolled over her left ankle against UMass earlier on in the season, and since then has really struggled. Line drive in front of glass, and it will roll all the way to the wall. Daniel scores easily. Kylie Edwards on her horse, dives into third. 5th triple of the season for the team that leads the SEC in that category.
This ball was tattooed off the bat of Kylie Edwards, just drilled into left field with the run rule imminent, just now 1 run away from being that glass in left field, diving for the ball in front of her. No backup behind her. You almost want to see her body up that ball, keep it in front. But now the winning run for LSU is just 60 feet away.
There she is. And here's Alex Franklin, who had a solo homer earlier on in the game. Zips bringing the infield in. If Edwards scores, they don't have any more softball to play today, and they will fall into the elimination game to face South Alabama tomorrow afternoon.
You mentioned the infield being pulled in. I still think they're a little deep with the winning run. You see the corners back behind the base. The middle infielder's kind of in no man's land. There's a lot of speed on third base with Kylie Edwards.
I guess I should give a caveat for pulled in. Pulled in a little. This isn't going to get it done, though. To first, Weigast has it one away.
I guess it doesn't matter where you're positioned if it's a fly ball to the infield.
Edwards has to stay put 60 feet away from ending the game. Now it's up to Tori Edwards. A walk her first time up. Singled, stole second base, and scored in the third, and then flew out to right in her third at bat. What do you think of Akron, South Alabama? How do you handicap that one?
Two good pitchers going at it. We've seen Akron make a lot of adjustments and have better at-bats as this game went along, and they'll be fighting for their season.
That gets past Cantrell, and the ball game is over on a wild pitch. Kylie Edwards crosses the plate. LSU run rules Akron in their first time in the NCAA tournament. No problem, 14th run rule win of the season for the Tigers, and they are off and running here in their home park.
And this was a complete game from LSU, and this is what Beth Torina wanted to see. Come out, make a statement, leave no questions unanswered. Jaden Huebner was lights out in the circle with 11 Ks, and in the offense, 12 hits, 8 runs, and get the first win of their regional via run rule.
So at the end of the day, LSU 8, Akron 0 in 6 innings, which means the 1-0 game is set up, and it's what we had expected coming in LSU and Virginia Tech. That should be absolutely box office at 1 Eastern tomorrow.
That's a game you're not going to want to miss. 2 elite programs going at it. This is what postseason's all about.
Can't wait to see that. Pete Demore's Hokies and Beth Torina's Tigers. But Kylie Edwards and LSU have no issues with the MAC tournament and regular season champions Akron. 8-0 in 6 innings in the 14th run rule win for LSU this year. Thanks so much for joining us all day here in Baton Rouge. With Brittany McKinney for our crew, I'm Alex Pearlman saying so long. We will talk to you tomorrow.